The crash of shattering glass echoed through the house like a thunderclap, freezing everything in place. 1 second I was reaching for the patio door handle, desperate to escape the suffocating tension in my daughter's kitchen. And the next, Marcus's shove sent me stumbling backward. Sophia's hand followed, firmer, pushing me harder. My foot caught on the edge of the rug. And then the world exploded in a spray of razor-sharp shards. The sliding glass door erupted around me, the sound deafening. A high-pitched crack followed by the clatter of fragments hitting the stone patio. Pain sliced through my arms and cheek as glass bit into skin. I landed hard on my knees, warm blood already trickling down my face, staining the collar of my blouse. For a long moment, nobody moved. The refrigerator hummed softly in the background, absurdly normal amid the chaos. I could feel their eyes on me, Sophia's wide with surprise but quickly hardening. Marcus's narrowed in smug satisfaction. Neither stepped forward to help. My hands pressed against the cold stone, shards crunching under my palms as I pushed myself up slowly. In the reflection of the unbroken panel beside the door, I saw streaks of red down my cheek, my hair disheveled, eyes hollow with a mix of hurt and sudden clarity. I looked at them, my only daughter and the man she married, and saw no remorse, just calculation and resentment. I said nothing. Words would have been pointless after everything. Wiping blood from my jaw with the back of my hand, I walked past them without a glance. Down the steps, across the driveway to my old sedan. The car door felt impossibly heavy as I slid inside, my fingers trembling on the keys. As I pulled away, the sting of the cuts faded compared to the deeper ache blooming in my chest, a hollow grief that had been building for years. People talk about betrayal as if it's always a single, explosive moment, a slammed door, a discovered affair, a final argument. But in my experience, it's more like ivy creeping up an old wall, roots digging in slowly until the structure cracks from within. It starts small, almost unnoticeable, and by the time you see the damage, it's too late to pull it out without tearing everything down. When Sophia was born, I was 29, a young widow already learning what it meant to carry the weight of the world alone. Her father, my husband Tom, had died in a car accident just months after our wedding, leaving me pregnant and terrified. No life insurance windfall, no family fortune to fall back on. Just me, a part-time job at a local bakery in our quiet Chicago suburb, and nights spent cleaning offices to make ends meet. My feet would ache so badly after double shifts that I'd soak them in ice water before bed, staring at the ceiling and wondering if I'd ever feel whole again. But then Sophia would wake with that tiny cry, her little fists waving, and something in me would strengthen. I rocked her for hours, whispering promises I wasn't sure I could keep. We lived in a tiny apartment with second-hand furniture, but I made sure she had what mattered: storybooks from the library, homemade costumes for school plays, extra tutoring when math got tough. I skipped new clothes for myself for years so she could attend a decent private school nearby. Dance classes because she lit up twirling in our cramped living room to old records. Every sacrifice felt worth it when her face brightened at the sight of me coming home. By the time she turned 18, my small catering business had grown from kitchen experiments to a steady operation handling weddings, corporate events, and neighborhood parties. Early mornings baking pies and assembling trays. Late nights negotiating with suppliers and managing staff. There were moments I wanted to quit, the exhaustion, the rejections, but I pushed through for her. 10 years later, after building a reputation for elegant, reliable service across the suburbs, I sold the business to a larger chain for a life-changing sum. I didn't broadcast the details. Most of the proceeds, $18 million, went into a carefully structured trust fund managed by my longtime lawyer, Richard. The trust was designed with ironclad protections, clauses for discretionary distributions based on respect and family harmony. Revocable only by me. It was my safety net. My quiet independence after decades of scraping by. Sophia knew I'd sold the company but assumed the money had been spent on living expenses or poor investments. I never corrected her misconception. Foolishly, I thought it might encourage her to value relationships over material things, to see me as more than a resource. Then Marcus entered the picture. The first time Sophia brought him home to our modest apartment, I noticed how his eyes cataloged everything: the worn couch, the simple dinnerware, even the faded curtains. His compliments felt calculated. "You have such a cozy home, Mrs. Harper," he'd say. But his gaze lingered on what wasn't there. At first, he was charming enough, offering to help with groceries or asking about my health. Over time, the mask slipped. Comments about rising costs, how families should support each other financially, started creeping in. Sophia began with small requests: a loan for unexpected bills, help with their first home down payment, wedding expenses that ballooned. I gave what I could without dipping into the trust, maintaining boundaries. Marcus didn't like that. I overheard him once in the kitchen. Voice low, "She's holding out. There's more there than she lets on." Sophia's reply was hesitant. "Mom's always been careful." His response was flat. "Selfish is more like it. We could build something real with that money." The requests turned to pressure. They'd remind me of past favors, framing my years of single motherhood as debts repayable in cash. The breaking point before the real decline was the family heirloom, a delicate silver locket from my grandmother, passed to me on my 16th birthday. Sophia asked for it for sentimental reasons. I agreed until I learned Marcus had pushed her to sell it for a weekend getaway. When I confronted them, she shrugged. It was just collecting dust. I barely recognized my daughter in that moment. That night, I called Richard to double-check the trust security. "Everything's locked tight," he assured me. I underestimated how resentment ferments when people feel entitled. Marcus's disdain grew open. Sophia canceled lunches, claiming busyness. Calls from her came only when they needed something. It was like watching the garden I'd nurtured my whole life overtaken by weeds. I stayed silent, observing, testing how far entitlement would push them. The shift was gradual, like frost spreading across a window pane overnight. One day the view is clear, the next, everything is obscured by cold opacity. After the locket incident, warmth between us thinned to nothing. Marcus no longer hid his contempt during visits. At their kitchen counter one afternoon, he'd toss in jokes like, "You know, Catherine, some folks retire because they've earned peace. Others because there's nothing left for them to offer." Sophia would chuckle softly, no real defense in her voice. I'd sip my tea, letting the barb land internally. Another fracture forming in silence. Invitations became scarce. Birthdays turned too hectic. Unexpected drop-ins met with awkward shifts, as if I'd interrupted private calculations. The grandchildren, once eager for hugs and stories, retreated to their rooms when I arrived, absorbing the undercurrents of disdain. Kids sense when adults speak of someone as lesser. One evening, dropping off books Sophia requested, I paused in the hallway, hearing voices from the kitchen. Marcus's tone was sharp. "What's left to squeeze from her? She's careful. Or just cheap." Sophia sighed. "After all she's done for me." He cut in. "Done? You'd think she'd show real gratitude by now." My grip tightened on the bag. They weren't asking for help anymore. They viewed it as owed. A birthright. I slipped out unseen. That night, staring at the quiet street from my couch, doubt crept in. Had I misread? But experience told me otherwise. They measured me by what I could provide, not who I was. My neighbor Gloria, a retired teacher across the hall with keen insight, confirmed it one balcony afternoon over tea. Saw Sophia in the lobby yesterday, chatting about how you're barely scraping by, that you'd need their support soon. Heat rose in my cheeks. She said that. Gloria nodded gravely. Folks who see helplessness act accordingly. Distance grows. If they believed I was broke, their cold glances, canceled plans, and tightening smiles when I didn't pay made sense. In their eyes, I was no longer mother but burden, tolerated until expendable. I didn't correct them about the trust, the investments, the decades-built security. Instead, I watched patterns emerge, Marcus steering talks to finances, Sophia's smile straining without offers from me, exchanged looks at my apartment repair mentions. Distance had become deliberate calculation. When Sophia called inviting me for a weekend family reset, her voice unusually cheerful, "It's been ages. Mom, let's reconnect." I hesitated. Past visits left emotional bruises. Yet hope lingered. A foolish spark that maybe she sought repair. I agreed. Friday evening, I arrived with her favorite pastries from a downtown bakery. She nodded thanks. No smile. Marcus scrolled his phone on the couch. By Saturday morning, the invitation's purpose clarified. Sophia, dressed for errands, announced over breakfast. Marcus and I have things to handle. Watch the kids. It wasn't a question. They vanished for the day. I cooked lunch, supervised homework, tidied, folded laundry. Their return brought shopping bags. Marcus's casual, "Thanks for babysitting," landing like an insult. Sunday mirrored it. Marcus handed a chore list, wipe patio furniture, organize pantry. "You're good at that." By dinner, roast chicken, the conversation soured. He smirked. For a retiree, you don't dress like life's treating you well. Sophia chuckled over wine. True, Mom. Try harder, no offense. I set my fork down. Clothes aren't my priority. Marcus leaned back. That's the issue. At your age, fading happens when you stop caring. She laughed again. No defense. The food turned tasteless. Later, feeling lightheaded, I told Sophia in the kitchen I'd leave early. She didn't look up. So soon? We're getting used to you here. Marcus in the doorway smirked. Broke folks always have excuses to bail short. The slap of it steadied me against the counter. I wanted to demand why the cruelty, how she allowed it. But swallowing, I knew no misunderstanding existed. They decided my worth. That night in the guest room, every house sound amplified, the fridge hum, floor creaks. Something shifted in me. The decay's end neared. Morning brought sharp air. Dressed early, bag packed. I hoped quiet exit. But they waited in the kitchen, Sophia rinsing a mug, Marcus sipping coffee against a counter. Early riser, Marcus said flatly. Beating traffic, I replied evenly. Sophia dried hands. Skip breakfast? Stay a bit. To keep peace. I poured tea. Talk started mundane, weather, school, but Marcus seized. We chatted last night. You've been isolated. Makes folks wonder. Wonder what? Calm tone. That you're ashamed, he said smugly. Used to help us. Now you struggle alone. Sophia glanced but stayed silent. I set cup down. Not true. He smirked, says you. But obvious you're broke. Older. Useless now. His amusement twisted my gut. Before I finished Marcus, Sophia neared. Mom, face reality. Be grateful we host it all. Not everyone shelters the unhelpful. Stillness hit. I grabbed my bag, turning for the door. Eve overstay it. Marcus blocked faster. Shoving hard, I stumbled into the sliding glass door. It exploded in bright shards. Crack. Then rush of pieces. Pain flared, arms, hands,
cheek.
blood slid warm down my face. Sophia gasped but folded arms. Eyes icy. Marcus looked down smirking. Can't even stand straight. Pulse roared. Metallic fear filled my mouth. Slowly rising. Glass crunching. I brushed shards. Just standing there? I asked Sophia quietly. No answer. Reflection in fragments showed pale resolve. I walked past. Out patio. Around front. Steps deliberate. Tears burned unseen. That night in my dim apartment. Towel pressed to cuts. I stared at the phone before dialing Richard. One sentence. It's time. His pause carried weight. Are you certain? Once started. Irreversible paths open. Certainty anchored me deeper than ever. We reviewed the trust set up with Tom decades ago. Protections for assets honoring respectful bonds. Specific clauses Sophia and Marcus never knew. Triggers for freezes on coercion or disrespect. By midnight, steps activated. Richard contacted the manager.
Property deeds.
Joint linked accounts. Investments, all secured. At 2 a.m., confirmation. Assets locked. Disbursements halted. No withdrawals without consent. Strange calm washed over. Not triumph, but resolve from the edge. I wouldn't fall. Morning storm hit. Phone buzzed at 8:15. Sophia.
Ignored.
Text. House account glitch.
Call.
By 8:30. Marcus called.
Ignored.
Text. Mortgage bounced. Explain. Coffee warmed me as I sipped slowly. At 9. Richard confirmed. House. Partially trust funded. Now frozen collateral. No sale. Refinance. Or insurance changes without signature. Voicemail filled. Sophia's confusion to panic to fury. Marcus's curt. What did you do? Think this stops us?
No replies.
Trust statement showed 18 million. Untouchable. Memories surfaced. Down payments aided. Tuitions covered. Trips unthanked. Given from love. Believing family. Love isn't endless credit. By noon. Investment account attempt rejected. Unauthorized. Between buzzes and fridge hum. Relief bloomed, not vengeance. But boundary drawn uncrossable. Afternoon passed silent, no TV. Just breathing.
Distant traffic.
Evening. I anticipated their arrival. Ugly talk ahead. This time, not me bleeding. They knocked as sun set. Sharp rap turned pounding when unanswered. Catherine. Open now. Marcus jagged. I took time. Opening door narrowly. Sophia pale. Desperate eyes. Marcus jaw clenched. Anger barely contained.
Mom.
Talk now. Sophia started. I let them in. Marcus brushed past. Tension thickened, fridge hum. Muffled traffic sharper in silence. Funny to you? Marcus faced me. Froze accounts. Locked our house. Not your house, I interrupted softly. Laura flinched. Excuse? Marcus' voice rose. Not yours, I repeated. Trust funded. The one you've drained years. Expecting endless feed regardless treatment. Marcus scoffed. Fear flickering. Sophia forward. Mistake. Words shouldn't. Can't ruin over argument. One argument. Steel entered my calm voice. You watched husband shove me through glass. Blood down my face. Said nothing. Mouth opened.
Closed.
Felt clarity then. I continued. No longer mother.
Bank.
When insufficient. Break it. Marcus stepped. So smart? Alone soon, no family. Been alone long, I said. Won't fund humiliation. Sophia's voice cracked. Kids. Lose home. Long look. Didn't take home. You did treating me subhuman. She turned, wiping eyes. Marcus muttered. I handed envelope from side table. What's this? Hesitant. Rebuild guide without me. Trust locked, nothing now or future. Stand on feet. As advised I should. Hands shook taking it. Marcus snorted. Don't need money. Tremor betrayed. I opened door wide. Nothing left discuss. Sophia paused. Perhaps apology poised, but turned, walked out. Marcus' heavy steps followed. Door closed quietly. Apartment warmed first time years. Window watched car depart. Engine started. Drove away. Strange peace settled. Glass gone. Blood cleaned. Line drawn permanent. And I remained. But peace fragile. Days blurred as fallout unfolded. Calls ceased abruptly after confrontation, replaced by indirect pressures. Marcus tried bank appeals, claiming errors, denied. Sophia texted grandchildren photos, captions implying hardship, kids miss stability, emotional leverage.
Familiar tactic.
I visited Richard's office midweek. Oak paneled. Leather chairs grounding. Clauses hold, he confirmed. Discretionary distributions require documented respect. Visits. Communication without demands. Violations trigger review. Legal. Psychological. Protected against exploitation. Recognizing coercive patterns common in family dynamics. Realistic. Courts uphold such if properly drafted. Emphasizing autonomy in elder financial security. Reflecting on path, from young widow to entrepreneur. Sacrifices invisible to them. Sophia's childhood joys. Picnics. Bedtime stories. Pride in her achievements, contrasted sharp adult entitlement. Marcus amplified it. Insecurity masked as ambition, viewing my caution as withholding. Nights brought questions haunting, where unconditional love ends. Self-respect begins? Had enabling started fractures? Giving without limits taught taking for granted. Moral weight pressed, cutting ties preserved dignity. But grandchildren collateral? Their innocent faces tugged. Yet exposing them to toxicity risked more. Neighbor Gloria checked in, bringing soup. Heard rumblings, family trouble? Shared lightly. Her wisdom. Blood not always thicker when money poisons. Validation eased isolation. Weeks passed. Trust statements steady.
No so.
Occasional drive-bys near their house showed lights on. Life continuing strained. Mortgage strain evident. For sale sign briefly appeared. Removed after rejection. One evening. Unexpected knock. Sophia alone. Eyes puffy. Mom. Voice broke. Let her in reluctantly.
Sat awkwardly.
Marcus. Stressed.
Kids asking grandma. Can we?
Reconsider.
Pearly whom?
Reconsider what? Respect earned. Not bought. Tears. Sorry for glass. Panic. Panic didn't stop shove. Silence after. She looked down. Love you still. Love shown actions. Not words post-harm. No resolution. She left heavier. Echoed moral dilemma. Forgiveness possible? Trust revocable, but wisdom said no. Patterns deep. Question lingered. Family redeemable through accountability. Or money illusion shattered irreparably. Isolation deepened, yet liberated. Mornings brought coffee on balcony. Watching neighborhood stir, kids biking. Dogs walking, life's simple rhythms reminding independence's value. Business sale proceeds secured not just financially, but emotionally, no more proving worth through provision. Flashbacks intruded. Sophia small. Flour dusted helping bake. Laughter filling kitchen. Teen years. Arguments over curfews yielding hugs. Wedding day. Pride swelling despite Marcus's calculating toast. Cracks formed post-honeymoon, subtle hints at family investments. I gave selectively, preserving trust. Marcus's influence grew. Promotion stalled. Lifestyle creep. Pressure mounted. Mom's cautious. But we need boost. Overheard plots framed aid as right. Heirloom sale was symptom, not cause. Weekend escalated existing rot. Babysitting unpaid labor. Chore lists demeaning. Dinner barbs eroding. Shove crystallized, physical manifestation of emotional discard. Blood literal. Betrayal figurative. Post-incident. Lawyer calls detailed mechanics. Trust provisions allowed me sole discretion. Freezes legal via power of attorney clauses. Banks notified. Deeds restricted. Psychological impact. Their panic-validated perceptions. Reliance unreciprocated. Confrontation replayed. My calm steel surprising even me. Their desperation. House collateral key. Payments bounced exposing fragility. Envelope contained practical advice. Budgeting. Career steps. Therapy for entitlement.
Dismissed then.
But perhaps planted seed. Sophia's solo visit hinted cracks in alliance. Marcus's stress mentioned. Financial. Relational? Grandkids' questions humanize stakes. Yet apology incomplete. Lacking ownership of shove or years erosion. Moral question amplified. Does parental duty extend infinitely? Or self-preservation paramount after violation? Society values family bonds. Yet elder abuse, financial, emotional, physical, rising concern. Legal protections exist. But emotional cost high. Community ties strengthened. Gloria hosted book club. Friends offered support without prying. Volunteering at local shelter redirected energy, helping others rebuild purpose beyond motherhood role. One afternoon. Richard updated. Attempts to contest Frozen, dismissed quickly. Clauses ironclad. You protected yourself wisely. Pride mixed sadness. Wisdom born pain. Driving past old family spots triggered memories. Park where taught Sophia bike. Bakery first job site. Nostalgia bittersweet. Past love real. Present distortion undeniable. Text from Sophia weeks later. Kids school play.
Come.
Temptation strong. Grandchildren pure. Attended distant. Observing. Their excitement genuine. Parents tense.
Post-show.
Brief hug. Marcus avoided. Small step. Boundary held. Reflection evenings. Betrayal slow poison. Antidote boundary setting. Message central. Love demands reciprocity. Unchecked entitlement destroys. Question endures. Can fractured family heal? Or must one stand alone for integrity? Peace grew tentative. Apartment felt sanctuary. Cuts healed, leaving faint scars, physical reminders. Emotional anchors. Months later. Equilibrium emerged. Trust intact. Life simplified, gardening, reading, occasional travels. No more obligatory visits draining spirit. Sophia reached sporadically, holidays polite. No demands. Marcus distant. Resentment simmered. Grandkids video calls bright spots. Shielded from adult strife. Moral haunting persisted. Actions preserved dignity. Yet loneliness echoed. Was cutting financial ties ethical when love remained? Society debates filial responsibility versus autonomy. My choice prioritized latter after breach. Legal realism. Courts rarely intervene family trusts absent fraud. My documentation solid. Psychological growth. From enabler to empowered. Recognizing patterns early key. 1-year mark. Unexpected letter. Sophia handwritten. Apology deeper. Acknowledged shove. Years greed. Marcus influence. Therapy helping. Miss real you. Response measured. Openness conditional sustained change. Meeting neutral cafe. Tears. Admissions. Progress slow. Marcus resisted. But separation hinted. Family rebuild possible?
Tentative yes.
Boundaries firm. Final reflection. Story not revenge, but reclamation. Shoved through glass shattered illusions. Fortune's secret revealed true values. Lingering question. What price family when respect absent? In America's pursuit success, material often overshadows bonds. Cautionary tale valuing people first. As sun sets on suburban porch. Scars faded. Heart steadier. Betrayal forged resilience. Future. Chosen connections.